Hello everyone. Welcome to this talk. Sirius, Sekhmet, and Sacred Rage. I'm going to give everybody a second to jump on and see if I can find myself on my computer here. So, whether you're joining here live, there I am, or watching the replay, it's nice to have you here. You're probably interested, curious about where this talk is going to go and what I'm going to bring up. But I want to preface this by saying, if you are here, let's nail this first foundational component right away. And that is me asking you this question. Do you believe 100%, because there's really no like halfway here, that you are the creator of your reality? I can see that there are people here, but I can't see who it is. So if you want to say hi, let me know I'm not all alone here. Just say hi in the comments and maybe where you're watching from. I'm interested to know that. Where I am here in Bellingham, Washington, it is noon. And hi, Tammy. And it's Sunday, the 7th. And we're in the apex of the 7-7 portal. Happy 7-7. So I want to ask you this because everything that we're going to talk about in order to grasp this and work with this. Hi, Megan. Hi, Eleanor. We need to establish this premise because there's really no one way or another. Well, I believe I create my reality some of the time. It's one or the other. Either you believe that you are 100% the creator of your own reality or you don't. Okay? And if you're not quite there yet in the camp of, yes, I absolutely 100% am the creator of my reality, no exceptions, all the time, this talk might not be for you. So go do something more fun. I hope it's a beautiful day where you are. You're not going to get anything out of this. It's not going to land in a way where it's applicable or tangible in your life. And I like useful implementation. And in order to do that, it's got to have a place to fit. It's got to have somewhere to go. This talk and what you might do with it or apply it to your own life, it's got to have somewhere to go. So if there's no room for that to come in, that truth of I am 100% the creator of my reality, if that is not your truth, this is not going to be for you. Okay? So it's not dismissive. I'm just very direct and I'm extremely blunt and I'm not a hand holder. The ladies here will tell you that. Okay? So if that is the case and you're still here, have a sip of water, settle in. I'm going to try to do this talk under an hour. 45 minutes is what I'm shooting for, so let's see where we get with that. So I'm going to just clear the space a little bit. So those of you who are still here, welcome. Thank you for taking the time on a Sunday to be with us here in discussion and a little bit of ceremony, okay? So I'm just going to clear the space for all of us. And my favorite Taskmaster, 174 hertz. Just go ahead and close your eyes. Breathe in and out. And on the out breath, an audible sigh, a physiological sigh. It resets the vagus nerve. It resets the nervous system. Cues the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous systems to relax, get on an even keel. Take a deep breath in and out. If you have earbuds in, notice how the tone drifts from the right to the left ear. Just let those two hemispheres of the brain sync up. Balancing, creating coherence. And noticing how this gently lifts. It has a clearing and a lifting effect all at once. And let's do that one more time. Deep breath in and out. Let your breathing just normalize now. Hello to everyone who's joining. Don't be shy. Let me know you're here. We might bust this out a little bit more in a second. We've already established our foundational energy. If you're signing on a little bit later, I did ask a question of the group. Do you believe that you are 100% the creator of your own reality? And very directly, very bluntly, I said, if you don't believe that, without exception, there's no halfway in. You don't dip a big toe and the rest of your body stays out of this one. You either 100% believe you're the creator of your reality or you don't. And if you don't believe that, this is not for you. Okay? So I don't want to waste your time. Go do something more fun. Go play. Go be in the sun. Go soak up the energies of this portal. Go be with your family, your friends. This isn't for you. So, if you are a woman on the planet at this time, you are sitting on a giant, big old, landfill-sized, garbage heap, dump, hillock, mountain of anger that some of us have turned inward and turned into depression, rage, fury, maybe a blinding kind of fury at times. Sometimes it feels like, where is this coming from? Is this even me? The answer is yes, because it's all you. There is no experience outside of yourself, not really. And certainly not as far as your subconscious is concerned either. So what is that? You know, when we're looking at the reflections of our inner state in the outer world, through experiences, events, situations, U.S. government policies, religion, the fascist nationalist right, we would look out, if we are looking out from the lens of victimhood, and say, oh my God, look at what's happening to us. Look at what they're doing, they are doing to women. Look at the atrocities in this world, even beyond the United States. The things that are happening to women. So I want to clear this up right away, because when you are looking at anything, this is why I asked you this, and it's going to make sense right here, right now, why I established this foundational premise for the rest of this talk, that if you don't believe 100% that you are the creator of your reality, meaning you understand that everything is an expression of your power, not anyone else's, of your power. That includes all your shadow and your light and everything in the gray areas in between, okay? If you are looking out at the external evidence of what's going on, what you believe is being done to you or done to other women on the planet, if you're in a victimhood state of mind, you are looking out from a veil of fear. You are looking out from a lens of fear. Now, fear is relegated to the 3D matrix. I'm going to even stretch you a little bit further here and say, you know, light actually has no opposite. Light, in other words, the entire creational energy of the cosmological order of infinite intelligence, God, source, and all the love that is, it has no opposite because it's the supreme energy. It is the first energy. It is the primal energy. It is the primary, primordial energy. It is creational energy. Nothing came before it. Nothing will come after it. Nothing equals it. So sometimes we talk about, you know, the opposite of love is fear. If we're talking about love in the 3D matrix expression and the many derivations of love that there is, in that sense, the opposite isn't even hate or fear, it's indifference. But in terms of love as a creational energy, and it has no equal or opposite. That's the exception to everything. So that might stretch you right there. Does that stretch anybody's consciousness right now, right off the bat? So when you are in that energy, when you look out at life, in other words, and the circumstances, events, and situations of life from that lens, you don't misperceive anything. And in fact, everything that you are witnessing or in your mind's construct as a supercomputer believes that you are witnessing or thinks that you are witnessing, if you are looking out from a lens of fear, you will see things in their truth. And if you're operating in any lesser frequency than that, you will misperceive and misunderstand everything that you see. How does that sit? I'm getting a ping. Let's clear that, okay? Let's just let that come up. And I want you to sit with that truth. So if you have a place of truth, and we all do, you know what that place of truth is. Usually it's in our belly or our heart, but some of us, hey, it's in our big toe or it's behind our left knee. Wherever you know your place of truth is, and it's very easy to source that in the body. It's a place in the body. It's a biofeedback mechanism, your place of truth. So if you say your name out loud, my name is Melissa Rose. My name is Melissa Rose. You're going to get an intuitive hit of where that is in the body. So that's your place of truth. So let what I just shared with you resonate in that place. And breathe. I'm going to ask you to keep going back to the breath. Because when we're in presence with the breath, we are in the presence of love, because we're in the presence of creation. We're in that stillness. We're in that openness, and we're in a place to receive. So when you think, let me just give you an example to kind of back this up. When you think about all the times in your life where you thought you knew the truth of a situation, or maybe, you know, the truth of a relationship, or the truth of an event that was happening that you were interfacing with, and you thought, and had good faith, good intel, that you were acting in your truth, only to find out later that you misperceived, you misunderstood, you had information that didn't quite match up with what you then later on came to find was true. Would you say that when you were in that original energy of misperceiving, that you were in an energy that was less than love? Would you say a lot of times that we misunderstand or misperceive what's going on in the world, we're actually reacting to something from the place of our own wounding, the place of our own deep-seated fears that maybe we've never consciously delved into and deconstructed or unraveled ourselves from? And if it's true that if you're a woman in this world at this time, you're sitting on top of a big garbage heap of anger. And we're talking about not only this lifetime, but lifetimes plural, multiple parallel timelines of the multiverse plurality of different ways of experiencing anger, fury, and rage, and dealing with the fear of, if I express this, something bad is going to happen to me or to those that I love, aka persecution, domination, control, manipulation, violence against women in many, many forms, and there are many, over not only this lifetime, all parallel lifetimes, let's just say, and multiply that times all of the different expressions there are on this planet of being a conscious human. That's a lot of anger. That's a lot of rage. And while it's true that men experience anger and rage and fury, there's a difference in the level of expression that's allowed there, right? I mean, one of the biggest fears that women have is, if not the biggest fear, is violence at the hand of a man. And so there's a kind of freedom of expression with men when they want to express anger and they want to express their feelings, that it can be very outward. They get to, if you want to say it this way, wear their hearts on their sleeves or wear their anger on their sleeves, as the case may be. Whereas we've been taught to just kind of push it way down, way, way down. So far down, like it's going out to the other side of the earth because we've had to push it so far down for so long. And multiply that times, let's just say, the last 20 years of your life. Just look at it inside of that kind of sphere or bubble. How many times have you felt anger and not safe to express it? Didn't feel safe to say out loud what you were feeling, to scream, to yell? I mean, anyone who's worked in the service industry like I had for, a couple decades, that walk-in cooler came in real handy because it was soundproof and you just go in there and scream. There are so many different ways that we've been taught as women to keep our anger under the surface because it's not polite. And then here in the context of spirituality, and yes, even on a more dogmatic level, religion, I mean, certainly women are not allowed to express anger, right? Something violent will probably happen to you if you do, especially in some of the more stricter religious atmospheres. So what's being experienced through the lens of this fear of not only, I don't even know at this point how I would express that anger that's within me, because maybe let's just say some of us have never been allowed to do it. None of us, or maybe, a large number of us never felt safe enough that we wouldn't even know how to express our anger if we were given the opportunity. And here's the thing, no one's giving you that opportunity. There's no permission slip. If you're in a restrictive atmosphere, you're going to have to do your very best to get out of that restrictive atmosphere, because here's what's happening. What we look out at and see in the world as this blight against women. I mean, we're way past being like treated like second-class citizens. There is this feeling that they're all out to get us. They're all out to get us. The bad men in government and politics and religion. But we can't ever experience anything in our outer reality if it isn't an inner reality first. And we betray our emotions over time, extrapolate that over years, decades, and then in a spiritual sense, over many parallel lifetimes. we become so good at abandoning and yes, even betraying ourselves by not allowing ourselves to express the anger that we feel, that we will turn it on ourselves. Because here's what happens when we hold on to a frequency or create, even worse, an identity or definition of self that's related to a fear frequency for so long, over years, decades, lifetimes, etc. In order to have the light of love, source, God, have it reflected to us in a way where we're actually going to start to do something about it, it shows up so prominently as what we would call our external reality, the outer world, so that we can finally consciously deal with what's in here. Are you guys following what I'm putting down here? So it's like a sickness, okay? It's like if you're running yourself ragged, okay? If you led a hyper-vigilant lifestyle for so long where you're just doing, going all the time, but then you constantly find yourself getting sick. You have a flu here, you have a virus there, or you smash your knee really hard and break your kneecap so you can't move forward anymore, literally. Those are very literal signs from the universe, like, you're not going to slow yourself down, so I'll do that for you. Because that's what love does. That's how it reflects, like, you're not looking at something here. You're not paying attention. And so if we don't make it very, very obvious, and I mean we, the energy that is love itself, you can call it infinite intelligence, the field, we will make it known to you that something is off, really, really off. So it's the same with what you would say or what you believe is going on in the world, is this mass persecution of women. Inside, we've been persecuting our own selves, and in a way that maybe I can make it make sense a little bit more, is that how we persecute or betray or abandon ourselves is we don't allow ourselves to feel. And when we go so long without that, so long without recognizing or realizing or interfacing with our own fucking feelings, the field will make it so glaringly apparent, put it in such a high level of contrast that we can no longer deny it, that we can no longer say, oh my God, I could just keep going on and on in my life day after day after day and just pretend that this isn't here. You don't get to do that anymore. If you find what's happening in the outer environment irksome in any way, shape, or form towards you or towards women as a whole, it's like an energetic destiny. It's a cycle. And everything in the universe moves in cycles. Everything is very feminine in that sense. It's cycles and spirals. There are no hard edges. There's no right angles in nature. Ever notice that? It's extremely feminine. It's circles and cycles and spirals and all spilling into each other and complementing each other and drifting in and out of each other's field of influence. Collaborating, cooperating. It's extremely feminine. But part of this feminine energy, even though there's that softness, and there can be that mothering energy, the great reset energy, birth, death, rebirth, also feminine. It's catastrophic. It's destructive. It's deconstructive. That feminine nature is extremely feral. It's extremely wild. But it's very feminine, extremely feminine. And if any of you have ever sat with the energy of Sekhmet, Kali, Pele, and worked with these deep, Lilith, these deep, feminine, primal, feral, wild, furious energies, not only are they very seductive and compelling, they're extremely cathartic. And so what is happening is an extremely feminine rebirth, but it's not all flowing robes and Stevie Nicks and gossamer scarves and beautiful, pearl, mother of pearl inlays. And it's no, we're not in that feminine energy. We are in your fucking face. Like, you're going to see this, and you're going to see this now. Stern taskmaster, almost dominatrix type energy, like whoop, cracking the whip. Like, we're doing this now. And you can come along with this ride or not, but it's happening. That's the kind of feminine energy I'm talking about. Is anyone resonating with what I'm saying? So I'm pointing out there's my Isis statue there, and that's my altar. You can't see the whole altar. But I work with, and have worked with for a while, the Sisterhood of the Celestial Fire. And it is Sophia, Isis, Hathor, Sekhmet, and Kuan Yin. And these 5 sisters, extremely feminine in different ways, but Sekhmet energy, and especially Isis energy, when we're talking about the 7/7 portal, and we're talking about Sirius, we are talking about the energies of Sekhmet and Isis in their solar deity form. And it's very, very powerful. It is fiery. Very fiery. So you guys are getting me. This is resonating. Hi, G. So just let this kind of wash over you. Just let this kind of, let's breathe. Close your eyes and just breathe in. Breathe very deeply. Breathe up from your fucking loins. Like, breathe up from the inside of your thighs. When you breathe in, breathe out. Imagine a dragon breathing fire as you exhale. Breathe in from that tingly, yummy, feminine center of you, and breathe out like a dragon breathing out fire. Because that's what this energy is. And so we're beyond breadcrumbs. We're beyond little clues and nudgings from the field and the universe, the cosmological order, source, God. We're beyond signposts at this point. We are in it. We are in a rebirth portal. And what we know about the cycles and movements and spirals of energy, if you think about a spiral starting at a singular point and rising up and out as the spirals get bigger and wider and go up and out further and further and further, the way we can grasp this with our linear minds is to think that this completion spiral, even though that's an inflexible construct in terms of like the imminent and internal nature of everything that is, but think of it as when an energy frequency has reached its saturation point, just like a light bulb blowing out, like an incandescent light bulb blowing out. What does it do right before it expends all of its energy? It kind of sputters and pops, right? Sometimes even a light bulb will pop, right? Because that vessel, that vehicle, no longer has the capacity to hold the energy as it is. It's an insufficient container. No capacity to hold it anymore. You could think of this particular collective timeline that we're in, and your individual timeline is very much woven with that, woven into that, is reaching a completion cycle, for lack of a better way to explain it. And so this particular timeline is no longer sufficient for holding the energies as they are. We have shifted, individually and collectively. What is interesting about a collective timeline versus an individual timeline is even though we're all one, okay, we're all one, there is no separation. That's a convenient illusion of the 3D matrix in order to make the architecture of the 3D reality work. We work with the illusion of separation. So you can think of this illusion of separation. We think of the collective timeline. That's all of us together holding a timeline for this earth and for humanity at this time on this earth. There is a tipping point of mass consciousness that renders a timeline insufficient as a container or vessel to hold the energies as they are. Meaning, as the energies continue to expand, and everything is expansion, the nature of everything, including you, is expansion. The timeline has to break, it has to pop. So everything that goes with that particular timeline must also break, pop, collapse, fizzle out, deconstruct, unravel, unspool the energy so that it can be funded towards the higher frequency timeline. Okay? I'm trying to break this down so it's easier to understand, but if you guys are following what I'm laying down so far, what you're witnessing, let's just say, as a collapse is necessary for this rebirth. I mean, you've known this. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. All of you that I can see who are here, where I can see your names, I know you. I know you know exactly what I'm talking about. And you've seen it and you felt it. And it's been what we would experience in our linear minds and with our play with time as an advanced progression that seems to be accelerating. It seems to be ramping up. That's why it seems like there's so many different sectors of life in the world, religion, politics, health, etc., education, where all of this is happening. Yes? So what does this have to do with the anger that we feel? We have to honor it. We have to express it. You know, one of the easiest ways for me to make this even more clear is to say something that's been said even in the most ancient teachings, going back to the furthest bits of antiquity that we have recorded history of. When you change the way you look at something, the thing that you're looking at changes. So let's go back to what I said before. When you're looking at life through a lens of fear, through, and fear and the anger that we have and the sadness that we have, of the sadness of not being our full potential as women and thinking that that's an outward force pushing us down. It isn't. The anger that we have and regret and resentment of the men have been in charge for too long. Okay, they're not. That's also a useful illusion that we get to play with. Okay, especially if we want to stay in that victim sentimentality and that victimhood lens of fear. The fear that we feel that if we do express ourselves, something really, really bad is going to happen. Well, how about this? What if it's not just one of us getting up and saying, hey, this, no more. Line in the sand, never again and no more. It's not just one of us doing it. We're not just one at a timing it. We're all doing it as women. And we're not doing it in such a way where we stand up and say, oh, well, I'm going to go right after this external thing and try to change the external thing first. It doesn't work that way. I know we like to think that. We are all of you here, again, I can see you in your own way. You are activists. In your own way, whether you're spreading, ways in your communities and through your orbit, through your aura, ways to improve life, giving people fundamental tips and passageways for improving their lives, you are contributing to the good of the whole, to the great of humanity, serving that potential from a place of love. We're all activists in that sense. But where we're not seeing things accurately is even coming from that best energy of wanting to truly help humanity and make changes in the world and be active towards, trying to fix this outer thing. There's nothing to fix. Nothing is broken. Not even you. In fact, you're perfect. You're amazing. You're beautiful. You are light and love. You will never, ever, ever not be that. And in that sense, there's no opposite of you. But here in this 3D reality, we're playing with duality. We're playing with polarity. We're playing with opposites. We're playing with separation. We're playing with illusion. And we haven't been playing the game at this level of 3D in a way that we're even in the game at all. Because we don't often recognize ourselves in players, as players. And if we don't recognize ourselves as players, then we're not recognizing the game. Game of illusion, if you want to call it that. So how do we recognize that we're players? We're playing roles in this game. And if it's a game, just like any other game, you can change your role. It's like the game Clue that you played, maybe. I'm dating myself here. The board game Clue. You could stop the whole game and you could play, Colonel Mustard if you want to. You could stop the whole game and play, what was the Scarlet lady? I can't remember. Miss Scarlet? I can't even remember the numbers of Clue. But do you get what I mean here? You get to change. If you recognize that you're in a game, and then you recognize that you're playing a role, that you are a player, you can reset the player. And if you recognize you've been playing a role as someone who lives in anger, sadness, or fear and decides to change the role to, well, I'm going to remember I actually come from love. I'm going to return to it. I'm never not that. I'm just playing with this illusion in this kind of limbo space that I'm maybe not that. Not true. None of that is true. That anger, sadness, and fear that you turned on yourself, betrayed yourself with, is going to look like I'm unworthy. I'm invisible. I'm unlovable. I'm too this, too that, too da-da-da-da. I'm not enough of this, I'm not enough of that, da-da-da-da, blah, blah, blah. That's what that looks like. When we weaponize anger, sadness, and fear against ourselves. And then that becomes the lens, the identity, the paradigm through which we view everything we think or believe is outside of us. You're not going to perceive anything in truth. And what we do in good faith, with good hearts, with wanting to do good in the world, we try to fix the outer things. We try to, repair the broken systems, the broken structures. It's pointless. It's useless. It is the most fucking futile thing you can do. If you're not taking a high-powered lens powered by love and looking at the parts of you that you still pretend are not there, or not important, or not worthy of greater exploration and investigation. It is all inner to outer. And so what we're experiencing is a ramping up of things in our outer world where shit is going fucking haywire. It's our own inner reality screaming at us to say, would you please, for the love of God, look at this thing? If not now, when? How much worse can we make shit appear in this illusion, this matrix, this simulation of reality, in order for you to do something about this fucking thing? And again, it's not, there's nothing wrong with you. It's just where you've been taught to think that having anger makes you a bad girl. Having sadness makes you no fun to be around. So we're not going to do it because we want to be fun. We want to have friends. We want people to love us. We want to be accepted. We want to be approved of. We want those thumbs up because it gives us that dopamine hit that we've been longing for. Fuck all that shit. Fats, for short. Fuck all that shit. I'm afraid someone won't like me if I say what I want to say. I'm afraid someone's going to judge me. People are going to judge you whether you're coming from the purest sentiment in your heart or whether you're acting like an asshole. There's no way. There's no way you won't be judged. There's a 0% chance of you ever not being judged. I'm afraid someone's going to do something really bad to me. Who? Where? What? I'll tell you what, sisters, most of us on this call, I'll bet you dollars to donuts, we've already had shit that we feel like it's enough bad shit happened to us for a lifetime. We're good. We're okay. What else you got? What else you fucking got? I've already experienced it. You can't do anything to me. I am fucking bulletproof at this point. It's about adopting. And believe me, that's love that I'm talking about. And a lot of times, no one can do anything worse to us than we haven't done to ourselves. Oof. Sorry. Breathe. Breathe deep from those loins. Breathe that fire out like a dragon. Fats. Love it. You're welcome. Fuck all that shit. Right? So what are we really afraid of? I mean, if anything, we should be afraid of living a life that isn't full out because we won't look at certain parts of who we are. All those years of quieting ourselves, of being demure, to be acceptable, to have the allure of kind of, I got my life put together and there's a kind of aloofness about me and look at this confidence, and it's all bullshit. Because you'd really like to just scream and yell and go right in the middle of a plaza or piazza or marketplace and just go, and just let it all out. And here's the thing. It's all your power. This is what we talk about in Genius Fractal when we're looking at our hologenetic profile. So when you do your Gene Keys hologenetic profile and you look at all those spheres that are your shadow and your gift and your city, the first thing I say in our first class is all of what you're looking at there is your power. Just like everything I'm talking about here is all your power. If it's not, whose fucking power is it? Your shadow is your power. Your unwillingness to look at your shadow is your power. Your ability to pretend to not know something that you very much know is your power. They're all just different ways of you playing with it. So when you realize that and take it within the context of everything I'm talking about here, how would you like to use the power? I'm asking you, this is not rhetorical. I would like an answer, please. For those of you here, or those of you watching the replay later on, how would you like to use your power now? The power of your anger, the power of your fear, the power of your sadness. It's all just energy. We give it different names, but words, they're just words. They're just letters that we decided to put together and whatever. Yes, we can speak power through the words, but it's always the energetic behind the words, right? And between the words, if you're clairaudient like I am. But it's all your power, all of it. So remember a little while ago, I said, we're playing the game. Except now maybe you have a different context of playing the game in the sense that, wait, I was playing a different role before. I can change it. I can change it right now. Great. Will you? In other words, you've been looking out at life through a paradigm, an identity, a mental concept of you, of your own construction, by the way, okay, of your own design. And if that's true, and maybe up to this point you were creating that through a lens of anger, sadness, and fear, and your wounding, and your upsets, and your hurts, and your self-betrayals, and everything that happened to you that you decided to glom onto and latch onto, just like you created an identity through that, you could decide right here and right now, because there is only now. Anything else is a ghost land, and it's a construct, a mental concept that doesn't actually exist. Right now, you can decide, I'm in this game, but I'm going to play the game, and I'm going to play the game with a different set of rules from a different role. And because of that adoption of belief, if you want to say that, or dedication towards using this energy, this power more fundamentally towards my better good and the better good of all, I'm going to change my player's role to someone who uses their power of all the emotions that haven't been expressed, all the feelings that haven't been felt or sensed. I'm going to feel them. There's nothing to fear. There's more to fear about not a life lived full out than there is about living a life where you express some things. Maybe there's a little fallout. Hey, what the hell? Nobody died. And I got to learn something. And maybe some of the people for the first time in my orbit got to learn something about me too. And I finally was like, whew, you know what? I did it. I expressed myself from a place of truth without a filter. And wow, holy shit, what a relief. What a fucking relief. I feel like there's a weight off my shoulders. I feel like an elephant's foot has now released itself off of my heart space. Finally. Why was I holding on to that for so long? What if not just G, but what if Melissa and Tammy and Eleanor and Megan and everyone else on this call all decided to be this beacon to everyone who's in their orbit, to be this lighthouse of what it looks like to live full out as a fully expressed, and in that way, actualized woman, human being. What kind of magnetic aura do you think you would have at that point? Do you think that that would make you a very good attractor of the energetics of people who share a resonance? Maybe see something in you that they would like to have for themselves, or, you know, be someone that's like, oh, if she did it, I can do it. She didn't die. She didn't deconstruct or explode. And look at, wow. And her energy, and I feel her energy around me. I feel like this is a safe place to be. Because this is someone who's expressing from truth and not afraid to do it. What kind of world do you think we'd be living in then, as witnessed through this new lens of ourselves, looking out from this new lens of ourselves and seeing the world? If we're looking at our own inner reality, witnessing ourselves in our deepest inner spaces that we wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole before, now we're just like, there's nothing off limits anymore. It's all my power. It's all accessed by me. I'm aware of it. I'm aware of my feelings moment to moment. I got this. I'm not afraid to express things in a healthy way where I feel empowered to do so. I feel emboldened in life. I feel confident. I'm coming to life with the courage of a lion's heart. Hello? Lion energy as we move from the 7-7 to the 8-8 portal. It is about great courage. How do you think you'd be looking at life from that vantage point? Because if you change the way you look at things, in other words, you're operating in a different paradigm and mental concept of self, so of course you're going to see the world differently. You change the way you look at things, and the things you look at change. It's the secret hidden in plain sight since antiquity. And we dismiss it as like, oh, that's something cool Wayne Dyer said before. It's been said for millennia. And sometimes not with words. And that's how you change your role in the matrix. You're not going to change or fix things by going after them externally. When we finally get this as a human species, everything will change for everyone. We'll have a great mass tipping point of consciousness. This is what we're going to be seeing through 2025, 2026, and 2027. It's going to really kind of ramp up in this 3-year window. And we have an outrageously open and available opportunity to start shifting this now. But it's not going after the outer stuff, changing the outer stuff, rallying cries, pumping our fists at the sky, saying, you can't do this. It is an internal shift. Does this make sense? So how will you use what was previously known as, up until now, the sacred rage that's been shoved down, it's been repressed? You had your own elephant's paw down on it so it would never come up too far. God, don't let it reach the throat, because then we're done. We're done for. How will you use this power now for good? What does this feel like? Does this feel like it funnels directly into some inspiration for finally maybe finishing a certain project? Or, maybe you were working on something that you wanted to say to someone and you've been pulling back, hedging your bets. Like, it's okay. It's not really all that bad. And what's even the worst form of self-betrayal is when we know shit is bad and we try to play a game with ourselves or convince ourselves, like, just a little bit longer. I'll do it until I have this. I'll do it until that's in place. Can you correlate those two things as to doing something like that to yourself and then seeing the world in the way that you do? Can you connect those dots? Please, finally, can you? So let's move. I want you to think about, please adjust your posture so that you're sitting straight up. If you're laying down, spine straight, okay? No crooks or kinks in the spine. Because we're going to bring some solar energy down. So you have a solar halo around your spine. All organs, tissues, fascia. Excuse me, I'm going to start releasing already. So that means sneezing and burping. When we understand that everything has an energetic halo, and everything that has an electrical field around it has a magnetic field around it. So that includes our spine. We have a solar halo. We have electrical energy conducted through the spine, and anything that has an electrical field has a magnetic field around it. So we're going to work with the magnetoelectric field around the spine. And what we're going to focus on is bringing solar support into the solar halo of the spine and strengthening you. Now, anyone who has ever had back pain, you know how debilitating that can be. When we have, especially chronic back pain that we suffered with for years, we just kind of get used to it as like, this is just who I am now. I just have this pain. And we feel like we're carrying the weight of the world on us. Because, hint, hint, wink, wink, we are. Okay, we don't have to do that. But when you're pulling solar energy in to solidify, stabilize, and support the spine, that's why I want you seated up straight, okay? Straight like a pencil. Like if you put a number 2 pencil against your back, it would be just a straight line, okay? You'd feel that your shoulders are back, your heart space is open. You go ahead and close your eyes, okay? If you have water, do take a sip. And now breathe in deep and way, 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 way down in your lady region, your nether regions, sourcing from deep inside the thighs and then up. And then up the base of the spine. We're going to run this cycle a few minutes, and then we're going to consciously bring energy, solar energy down from the magnetosphere. So imagine the straight line of your spine. You're conducting energy up on the in-breath from deep in your lady nether regions. And as you exhale, you bring it down to the same point. Find your own rhythm, find your own cycle with that, and just cycle it through, up and down, up and down. You can imagine it as a tube of energy. You can imagine it as a bright yellow solar halo that gets more illuminated as you bring the air up on the inhale and lightens as you bring it down on the exhale. And just do that for a couple more cycles. So just like when we have relief from debilitating back pain, once that pain goes away, we have moments of relief, or we take some ibuprofen, or we do some physical therapy, and we feel that energy open up again. Doesn't it illuminate the entire body? Yeah, because the spine is your great stabilizer for the body. Without it, you'd collapse like a bunch of broccoli, right? So when you stabilize that with solar energy, as you imagine a bubble of bright yellow light just above the crown of the head, about 6 inches above the crown of the head. It's just hovering there. I want you to get a sense and a feel of this energy. Is it bright, sparkly, like champagne sparkle light? Is it kind of opaque and impenetrable, or is it kind of fuzzy and fluffy and kind of blurry? Does it have sunbeams emanating from it going out in all directions? However you imagine it is perfect and right for you. But I want you to get a sense of this solar sphere. What color is it? It doesn't have to be yellow or orange. It could be fiery red. It could be magenta. It could be indigo. Doesn't matter. And we're using 417 hertz here. And now that you feel more open and you have this more familiar sense of this sphere, I want you to start to bring it down as if it's liquid light. And bring it down into the crown, into the scalp, going into any part of the scalp, the cranium, behind the ears, behind the eyes, the sinus cavity, anywhere you're feeling pressure or an intense kind of bubble or pulse of energy. Like liquid light, it's just very smooth, it's very fluid. Let it go into these spots and just create a capacity to receive. Just imagine it opening that area up. Where there is once resistant energy, there is now open, fluid, available flow. And continue to bring it down into the jaw. Sometimes when we do this kind of work, we work with anger. We have a set energy in the jaw, so we want to make sure we smooth and soothe that with this liquid light. The back of the head, where the skull meets the spine, especially. All right, now let's focus on bringing it down the spine, vertebra by vertebra. And as this liquid light soothes and coats not only the halo around the spine, but the actual physical spinal structure itself, I want you to notice and kind of move your body slightly so that you can like roll your shoulders or open your chest up a little bit more and just feel the fluidity of an opened up spine, the rigidity is gone. Imagine it like a flowing river, your spine. That as it meets with rocks, aka resistance, it just flows right over it. So as you kind of move your spine, you're still sitting up straight, but you're just slightly moving it. You don't have to do exaggerated movement here. Just feel it softening and opening like the fluidity of a flowing river in full force. Like it's a spring stream that's mountain melt, and it's coming down and flowing over these rocks as if the rocks are nothing. Just feel that smoothness now, or mid-spine. Again, vertebra by vertebra. There's no rush here. Just let this energy come down. And now we're in the lumbar. And feel it come down into the hips too as it reaches this halo on the outside of the spine towards the hips. And it's just kind of soothing the energy of the hips. As women, we hold so much of our anger, resentment, sadness, and fear in the hips. So let it soothe and coat. Imagine it opening up stuck, resistant energy that's now creating pockets of open, flowing energy, availability of new energetic potential. Smoothing and softening as it goes, and now deep into the sacrum. And just way down. All the way to where your butt cheeks are on the seat, and just kind of soothing the sits bones. And I want you to notice, like that was a very, very quick transmission. But are you sitting up a little taller? Are you able to breathe a little better? I want you to just kind of gently move your head from side to side. We'll do a final vagus nerve clearing. So if you put your hands behind your head and keep your head straight, and you can have your elbows out a little bit more so it's easier to look, but I want you to start by looking at your right elbow, keeping your head straight. Your eyes go to your periphery, and you're looking at the edge of your right elbow, and I want you to hold it until you feel a sigh, a yawn, a shift in your energy. This can be anywhere from 30 to 45 seconds, so just keep holding it and looking at the elbow. Make sure not to turn your head to look at the elbow. The head is straight ahead, but the eyes are going to the right. I feel a yawn, so I know that that's a shift in the energy. So you are actually healing and toning your vagus nerve. And when you get that, do the same with the other side. The head is straight, hands are behind, just supporting the back of the neck, the base of the occipital ridge. You can put your fingers there. And now looking to the left elbow. And keep your eyes fixed on there. The skull is looking straight ahead, but the eyes to the periphery, to the left. And you're holding that until you get a sigh, a yawn. And when you get that, now turn your head from side to side. Feel different? That loosened up a little bit? So when we can stabilize in the spine like that, and we can soothe the vagus nerve, there's other ways to do it too. You could put your fingers inside the soft part of your ear right here for the first inner fold, or just down below the first inner fold, and you rub. That also opens up the vagus nerve. But those of you who have neck tension and you feel upper body tension a lot, that's a great exercise. It takes you a full minute to do both sides, really, not much more than that. And you'll notice, does anyone notice more fluid movement in the neck? And what does this do for your spine? Your composure. Notice when you get up and walk around after this call, how does that feel in your gait, your carriage, the way you hold your body, your posture? And in closing, I want to invite you and encourage you this week, look at how much of anger, sadness, and fear up until now you might have been denying, pushing away at, or pushing down, or repressing. To the experience that you have in your outer world of being repressed is a direct measure, an outer reflection of your inner reality of where you are repressing these emotions for yourself, by yourself, of yourself. If you believe that you're 100% the creator of your own reality, this is a premise of truth that you can no longer deny. We don't have this kind of ability to unknow what we know. And if you've been on this call for the entire duration, you can't unsee this now. You will not unknow it now. You'll connect the dots a lot more clearly now. And so if that's the case, when that information that's no longer signposts, you're going to be like hit over the head with this stuff. We're not talking about breadcrumbs or signposts or messages or nudgings anymore. The shit's for real. So you're going to feel these things come up and they're going to be strong. And so it will be incumbent upon you taking responsibility finally, if never before, finally now, for where you feel anger, sadness, and fear, and addressing this as, hey, this is my power too. But if I change my role, I get to change how I use my power. If I'm willing to look at my own anger differently, then the things that are making me angry will look differently. If I'm willing to look at my sadness differently and through a lens of love, then the things that I say are giving me sad vibes in the world are going to change. If I'm willing to look at the fear through a lens of love, is where have I felt I've been unworthy, unlovable, invisible, and why do I keep punishing myself? What reward am I going to get if I see myself as bad enough, unworthy enough, unlovable enough, undeserving enough? What reward is there if I keep punishing myself to this degree? Are you getting this? You're going to see things, witness things in your outer environment that you'll say, that's the problem. That's the thing that's doing it. It's that guy. It's that system. It's that structure. It's that religion. It's that politician. And you'll go after those things and try to fix them. And it won't fucking work. And you'll be really frustrated. And so I will say on a parting note here, because I don't do a hard sell on the things that I share with my programs, but tomorrow the doors open for Genius Fractal. And these are the things that we work on. These are the things that we transmute into a greater use of your power. And what's brilliant about it is we do it over 4 weeks. What's also brilliant about it is now you have lifetime access to this program. So every time I teach it, you get to come back. We do a lot in an intensive, comprehensive 4 weeks together. And our next round starts on July 30th. The doors open for early enrollment tomorrow. And I'm only doing a 48-hour window for my income-sensitive / early enrollment option. So it's $797 to join. There is a split payment option on that, a 2-month payment option. And then there is, I call it the Explorer tier. I don't like using VIP because that's a very important person. You're all fucking important to me. So the Explorer tier is where you and I do a one-to-one call together. That's an added option to just the group program. So those of you who are here, who are in Genius Fractal with me, I would love for you to give me some love on this post and maybe say something very quick about your experience in that program. We're just finishing up our current round now, which ends on Tuesday, and then we start up again on July 30th, Genius Fractal, and I'm going to put the link in here for those of you who don't know about it or are maybe new to my orbit and are interested in working with me further. This is your great opportunity, because this is all I'm teaching for the rest of this year. And here's the link for that, where you can learn more. So after 48 hours, the price on this program increases to $11.11. So Wednesday night at midnight EST, the price goes up to $11.11. So if you've been wanting to work with me and you want the income sensitive and or early enrollment option, this is your opportunity. So I hope this has found you well. I hope that, thank you, Tammy. I hope that this has imbued your whole energy, your aura, your physical body and your spine, your sacral, with this fiery energy to do something good instead of feeling downtrodden by life and all the forces that you think or believe are outside of you. It's all already within you, all the resources that you require or could ever need for shifting your experience. It's all right here. Thank you, Eleanor and Tammy. So much love to you all. Mwah. Bye-bye.